All right. Hey, welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We are joined once again with one of my favorite segments. Hey, we're talking pre-trip and post-trip. This is put on to you by Reliance Partners and none other than the one, the greatest. Hey, Brian Runnels, how you doing? Hey, sporting the tattoos today. I like that look, brother.
Got it all out today. It's nice weather up here, so I didn't have to go full sleeved.
I like that. So I just came back from Aruba. We had insurance meetings in Aruba, headed up to Cedar Rapids this afternoon. So I'm gone from paradise and I'm going up to, I don't want to say it, but it's going to be awfully cold for me. So I'll be in Cedar Rapids for the rest of the week. You know, heat to that cold. I'm not sure how I'm going to deal with that, Brian.
Yeah, you're going to come back with a head cold is what you're going to do.
Yeah, as long as I come back, that's all that matters. I don't want to be stuck up in Cedar Rapids. Hey, Brian, we had a great conversation yesterday, and now we're going to talk today on a little pre-trip and post-trip, two of my favorite things. Hey, Brian, let's just talk a minute about that. Hey, when you think about a pre-trip or post-trip, hey, what's the first things that come to your mind when we talk that?
You know, unfortunately, what comes to my mind is they're not getting done. It's a super easy way to avoid troubles throughout the day. And I'm going to add a third. You know, you say that you're talking about your two favorite things, pre and post trip. I want to throw in there that en route inspection because, man, that is the one that is going to save you throughout the day. That nail you pick up, or you know, something breaks, now an airline's hanging down, or a mud flap gets torn off. You know, it's that stuff that you check throughout the day that's going to help you out. But, you know, let's start the day. Let's do the pre-trip. Let's get it done and make sure the truck's good to go.
Yeah, Brian, I remember the conversations back in the day where, hey, how long do you have to log it for? And that to me was always going at it the wrong way. Hey, it's got to get done. And sometimes it may take you a little bit longer because you discovered a problem. Hey, when you hear those comments from drivers out there, how long should I log it for? I mean, what do you think about that?
Well, the one thing I think about is you definitely don't want to put 2 or 3 minutes on there because that's just absolutely absurd. There's no way you're doing a thorough check in 2 or 3 minutes. Now, you get up into the 9, 10, 12, 15-minute range. Yeah, you've done a full walk around. You know what you've looked at. You've got a good pattern to it. So, yeah, it can take you 8 or 9 minutes. If you do find something, okay, that's going to take you a little bit longer. But, you know, there's no set time to say, yes, it should take this amount of time. I mean, back in the day, yeah, we had to show 15 minutes on our logbook just because that was the shortest time period you could show without just throwing a flag down. And that meant something took less than 5 minutes. Well, that's not the way anymore. You can just log it as you do it. And I think anywhere between 8 and 15 minutes should be enough if you have a good pattern.
I was just going to ask you on that, Brian, because it starts with that pattern, and you brought it up. Hey, so finish it off. When you say pattern, hey, what are you talking about?
You start and you stop the same place every time. You have the same process. You know what those safety related items are. If you don't know what they are, take a look at a DVIR. Those will tell you what the safety things are that you need to look at. Along with everything else, you know, you can't have anything that's broken, but those safety related things, once you start looking at those every time, you're going to know what you're looking at and what you're looking for. And, you know, one of the things that we have up here, more so, well, anywhere really, we've got an inspector out of Indiana that his big thing is dry, fresh rust. You know, that powdery rust. That means metal's rubbing on metal. And he keys in on that stuff.
Yeah, you know what? That's and we talked first about the pattern. Hey, make sure that you're doing it the same way, focusing in on the items like you're talking about. Hey, Brian, is there you bring up the DVIR. Is there another way? Is there maybe there's a cheater? Is there something that we can give to some of these drivers to help guide them along, you know, the pattern or a great pattern, say, that you would recommend?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because in the old days, those were actually in the front of the Atlas. You could find one there. But there definitely are sheets out there. I'd be happy to get one to you, and you can distribute it out. We can put it maybe out when we put this link out on the socials. Whatever that is, I'll be happy to get something over to you. But there, if you think back to when drivers got their first they first got their CDL, the pre-trip test was a part of the test, and the only way that you could pass that is to be in a pattern and do it the same way all the time, so that when you went and took the test, it flowed, and that's what they were looking for.
Yeah, and when you think about that, going back to basics, how important that is, and how important it is when it comes to pre, post, or as you said, the en route, because those are things that we did all the time early in our stages as drivers, and sometimes, Brian, we've created some bad habits throughout.
Create some bad habits, you get pushed for time. Everything was fine the last time I looked at it. There's a ton of reasons not to look at a piece of equipment, but I can give you one good reason too, and that's to not be put out of service somewhere, because that's going to cost you more time, and you or the company, if you're an owner operator, if you're a company driver, it's going to cost you money if you get put out of service somewhere.
Brian, if you find something on that pre-trip, something critical that's just not working right, I just don't see, and I'll go the other way too, if you don't even look at your equipment, you don't have time this morning for that pre-trip is how you think right now, I don't know how you go mile after mile after mile wondering or worrying about, am I going to kill somebody if DOT pulls in, or if I get pulled over by a DOT, or if a DOT sees me, are they going to have me pull over? I don't know, Brian, how you go mile after mile with doing a piss poor pre-trip without doing a pre-trip, or seeing something that you know's not working and just continuing down the road.
It's a matter of, I think, a couple things. One, laziness. Two, just let me get through this one. If I get through this one, then I'll get it fixed. Or, once I get there, I can just drop this trailer. And then it becomes someone else's problem.
Yeah.
And, that's where companies get in real trouble is, let's say there's an inspection, we'll take this past the actual getting pulled over part, and we'll take it to the backside. Okay, the driver, you got pulled over for an inspection. They found this mud flap missing, whatever it was. And you're dropping the trailer, but it wasn't something that they'll put you out of service for. You drop the trailer with that defect. Now, the problem is that should have a DVIR attached to it.
Yes.
And that'll be one thing that they key onto in an audit, is they'll look at those violations. And if there isn't a invoice for the repair, there dang well better be a DVIR for the end of the day that someone at least wrote it up. Yep. And got it fixed before the next dispatch. And that is something that is a violation during an audit.
Brian, now we're moving into that post trip, and we're going to talk about the en route as well in a second. Post trip. So what are you looking for on the post trip, and why is that, say, as important as a pre trip?
To me, it's actually more important. And the reason why is a post-trip inspection is the one you're going to put in writing. So you should probably be actually a little more thorough with it than the pre-trip. That's what it says in the regs. You're going to put this report in writing. So, and the other thing too, you've ended your day. Okay, you're done driving. You find something wrong if you're at a truck stop and they've got a shop. Well, get the darn thing fixed, so when you do the pre-trip in the morning, you're good to go. Why put it off? Because it's not really cutting into your drive time anymore. Get the darn thing fixed. That way in the morning, you're good to go. Why somebody doesn't do a good post-trip, and the way the roads are in many parts of the country and all the stuff we put this equipment through every day, it's easy for something to break through the day. And to me, I'd want to find that at the end of the day and get it fixed, so I don't have to mess with it. I'm all geared up, ready to go the next morning, and daggone it, I just found a light out, a tire flat, whatever the case is. I kind of probably found that last night.
Agree, and especially if you're pulling that same trailer, hey, give yourself a better chance the next morning of when you're doing your pre-trip. And if you're dropping that trailer at a yard, Brian, it's just as important because you do owe it to that next driver that's going to pick up that trailer. Hey, give them a chance to be successful as well. And when you drop a trailer without checking it, when you're not doing your post-trip on it, you're not calling that in, you're not doing your DVIR, you're not getting your maintenance team a chance to fix it, to create success for that driver that's picking that load up to go deliver it, Brian. And yet we see it quite a bit in trucking still.
Yeah, you see it a lot, and even on the, let's say, the owner-operator side, where they may be hauling the same trailer all the time. We see owner-operator-based companies with very high maintenance scores. And that really just baffles me because, guys, that's your living. That is your main source of income. That thing goes down for an extended period of time, and that really puts a small operator or an independent into a real bind. So why you wouldn't want to try to find that stuff early, I just don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm right with you. Hey, Brian, quick break, and we're going to be right back. And we're not getting out of here, though, without talking the en route check as well. We'll be back in 60 seconds with BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
I want to thank you for being on BCB Live. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate you.
Hey, appreciate you, Andy. Have a good one, buddy. Thank you for joining BCB Live.
I want to thank each and every one. Hey, thank you for taking time to join BCB Live.
I want to thank you for coming on and shedding light.
Thank you so much. Loved having you on here. Woo! Great job, Clara. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. We're not done talking pre-trips, post-trips, and now, Brian, you've just added another check to this pre-trip, post-trip. You said now, hey, don't forget about the en-route check as well. Hey, talk to me a minute about that.
We make stops. Drivers make stops during the day, and I never understood why, when you're fueling, why are the lights not on? Why are you not walking around the truck? Okay, granted, someone will hit me with the exception. Well, I haul hazmat. Okay, yeah, you got to man the pumps. I get it. But even more of a reason why to, after you've done fueled, pull it into a parking spot and walk around the truck. But while you're fueling, the lights can be burning. You can look at that stuff. You can thump the tires. You can open the hood. I don't get it. You see drivers all the time just standing there watching fuel pour into the truck. Other times, you stop and use the restroom, or you stop to get lunch, or anything like that. I have a saying that I put out there to folks all the time. Walk to the truck with your head up. Okay? There's no reason to have your face buried in the ground. Look at your equipment as you walk out to it. Will you see everything? Heavens no. But is there you might find something that would keep you from getting pulled over, because we touched on it during our last conversation that there's three reasons why vehicles will get pulled over for an inspection. One, an observable defect. That's what we're talking about with the pre and post trip. The other is unsafe driving. The other is a high ISS score, which is derived from these types of violations. So by having an observable defect, man, it makes it easy. They pull you over and you already got one violation on you. So, it's things like that. And it's the most common stuff. If you take care of your lights, tires, and brakes, Mark that works with us, Mark Barler, he preaches the BLTs, it's brake, lights, and tires. And he's absolutely right. Those are the most common things. Those are the easiest things for inspectors to find. And they're easy for you to take care of.
You know what? as a driver out there as well, it's also important to know, hey, what is that ISS score for the company that I'm with right now? Because Brian, you just said it. If it's a score that's too high, you better be looking at your equipment, because odds are you're going to get pulled in first before, say, another company with a lower ISS score, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because once that is what, for the drivers that have pre-pass or drive wise or something like that, a scale bypass system, they've got the two towers over the road. The first tower, when you go underneath it, it reads all that information in that box and sends it to the scale house. And the scale house immediately sees the ISS score of that truck that just went under the tower. By the time you get under that second tower, they know if they want to see you or not. Well, if your score is elevated, 75 or above, that puts you in the red. And the higher that is, the more likely you are to, number one, get pulled in, because most likely those scale bypass systems are not going to work, or they're going to go red. They've got them set automatically to at least come in. And then they're going to take a long, hard look at you as you roll across the scale. So, it's super easy, and it works on all your CSA scores. It's kind of a combination of everything, and it puts you in green, yellow, red. And if you're in red, you're in a must inspect status, and they're going to roll you through the scales. And that's what you're trying to avoid. You won't get inspected if you're not getting pulled into the scales for the most part, and you don't have observable defects.
Same point. If you've done a proper pre-trip, post-trip, you checked yourself out en route, hey, the odds are is that you found those defects, you've got them repaired, and you begin to then lower that score, reducing your odds, your chances of getting pulled in, and even giving you more hours, more productivity to run that day. You do owe that, though, Brian, and we're going to close this out here, Brian. It is 100% the accountability of a driver to get that pre-trip, that post-trip done daily. I mean, it's the beginning and the end of a day. And Brian, I'm going to let you finish it off here. How critical is this?
Well, everything has a dollar amount attached to it. Everybody is preaching right now the detention time at shippers and receivers, which, is absolutely right on. And that's because the truck is sitting. Well, if you're put out of service, guess what? Your truck is sitting. You're getting inspected. Your truck is sitting. So, everything has a dollar amount. To be proactive and to get this stuff taken care of, the companies will probably do if they know about it. Well, without a driver letting them know that something's wrong and being proactive to get it fixed, I don't understand. I don't know exactly how a company can improve the score without their drivers assisting them in that process. It has to be done.
Brian, hey, I want to thank you for being on the show. Reliance Partners, we're out there, a great insurance company, insurance broker out there to help find you things. But Brian, it's hard, and it really is. It's hard to fight for good rates. It's hard to do all these things when we, the trucking company, the truck driver, when we're not doing our part, pre-trip, post-trip, hey, it's the beginning and it's the end of that day. You really can make a difference, right, in your scores if you're doing these things.
That's absolutely true. And let's not forget, drivers, those scores that go against you as well. So, I know that's kind of a lost process in this whole thing is, drivers even understanding that they have a score, but
Brian,
they do.
We found the topic for next week already. I don't care what it is. We're going to dive into that because you absolutely have a score. And I'm going to tell you something else. Trucking companies look at it, and Brian, it's a secret. That's a great point. So many drivers out there, I think they have forgotten through time, or maybe it's just not educated well enough that they absolutely have this score.
It's absolutely both. You are right on both accounts. It's not being pushed out there. Not pushed. It's not being, drivers aren't being informed. And so many people have come into the industry after that went into effect, and they may not even know what it is.
You're right, and that's part of what we're going to do here on this. Hey, Brian, thank you for what you do. We'll talk to you next Monday. Hey, God bless. Hey, be safe out there, okay?
Thanks, Rick. Talk to you next time.
All right, buddy. Be good.